Any lights, any highlights that are in your painting has to be white, predominantly white paper. You can use a touch of white paint here and there, but really the white paper's got to zing through your colour. That's paramount importance. In all my work I'm trying to capture mood, light and atmosphere. That's what's important. You're trying to capture work and you want the viewer to try and interpret their point of view on that story and then develop it themselves. You know, just letting things start to... I want to keep this light. And the other thing I use quite a lot of, which you'll see, is a butter knife. And all I'm doing is just marking, doing horizontal and vertical marks to suggest faces of slabs of building work. And the occasional vertical line, that's just indenting the paper slightly, and the pigments will collect in those indentations. Touch of raw sienna here and there, touch of burnt sienna, just to suggest some roofs. This side's going to be in shadow, so the idea is we're peeking through. Maybe this is a market square somewhere in a hill town or something, and we're peering through. There's a suggestion of buildings and so forth in the distance. As I said, I'm letting colours mix on the surface of the paper. So here, on this side, I'm just going to do initially French Ultra, slight wash of French Ultra, just a little dab of the colour. All my colours are tube colours squeezed into the palette, so I don't use pans, I use tube paint, squeeze it in and then replenish wherever necessary with whatever I'm using. This building here on this side of the picture is going to be in shadow. That building's in shadow, in sunlight, this will be in shadow, and then I'll just drop a lower level there, and then we can just get a suggestion of what's going on. I think this is going to be a sort of piazza in this area. This is going to be a lovely opening. We're going to link one side with the other by our shadows later on, drawing the eye from the shadows of this building, taking across and linking to what's going on that side of the picture. The other thing I use quite a lot of, which is useful, is an atomizer. You just spray it like that, and it plays with the and gives you texture to the wash and to the wall. So that will give you suggestions of a bit of old age on the wall itself. Just let the colours, doorways. So let's just suggest at this stage just a red canopy coming out there, maybe a red one there. And then we'll let that blend in. We'll put some others in later on. At this stage you can always, if you think, oh, I might want to introduce some highlights or some lights in there, then always blot off. So I'm just dry brushing. It's better. Radiating the eye from this point. So that again will suck the eye into this area of the picture. Now it could be we'll have people talking, milling around, should be a stallholder selling something, I don't know that, but that's a long way in the distance yet. All you're really doing at this point is establishing what's going on. So that's quite nice. And then it's as if there's something just poking out, an overhang of something. Again, I'm not trying to produce an architectural perspective. I'm trying to give something a bit of atmosphere and a bit of life. Then some shadows just to take your eye across. Because you want the viewer, we're going to be looking from a shadowed area into a sunlit area, into that area. So just want that area. Again, it's the beauty of pigment just playing on the surface of the paper. That's what... Just don't be afraid of letting the pigments mix on the surface of the paper. That's the beauty of watercolour. Allow your pigments to play. Just try to remember though that in shadowed areas, tone and colour mixes and you have soft edges. In sunlight areas you have hard edges because light's bouncing off various things. You know, canopies going on the other side of the road. red one going in with nice red stripes, leads your eye in to the subject. This could be a cafe where we're sitting in, it could be a market stall. I'm not sure what's going to go in there yet, we'll see. I don't like that vertical coming down there, I need to break it up a little bit. Just starts to establish that. Let's put a couple of figures closer to us, just to set the, let's put one here. This gentleman or lady, I'm not sure what yet. You can see that person is a lot closer to us than that. Now if you've got a child in the shop, heads of adults are all on this line, but a child, no, a child may be smaller, so the head may be lower. So there's a child here. She's got a red dress on. And never think of putting detail, never suggest, let the feet disappear, let the legs disappear, that gives movement. If you put all the structure and try and put all the detail into the legs and the arms, you know, you don't want that. Providing you just get, as I said, you get the balance right, and the balance is the head, 7.5 to 8 heads for a lady, sorry, 7.5 for a lady, 8 for a man. However big you're doing the figure. So that figure I've just put in there, that head would fit at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About right, 8. Suggestion of a bag or something. So you can link these two. So these figures are now forward of those figures. Just at this stage. But what I'm trying to do all the time is suggest. What I don't think you need to do is have all the you don't need to put every brick in the wall. You don't need to have everything indicated. Allow the viewer and give the viewer the intelligence to interpret what they're looking at. Then they start to see different things in your work. And that is the beauty of it. You want them to, I've mentioned in this article, if anyone buys my work, I want them to walk down the stairs each morning and see something different in the piece of work. If it's the same each morning, they shouldn't have bought it in the first place, it's boring. So you want them to maintain their interest. And so that warm edge is working nicely against it, and because it's a stronger value, stronger tonal value, it's pulling the eye towards us. And again, just by a bit of dry brush, so less water, and just let the pigment, so you get a distressed feel to the stonework, to the brick. Now that works quite nicely because it's taking the eye all into that area. And what I said earlier on about these shadows, let's really beef up, because I want this whole area here to be in shadow. And if I increase the shadow value here, that will make that appear lighter. So, this is quite good fun. Just with a wash, I'm going to use a wash of alizarin and cobalt, so it's a mauvish, purplish colour. Just let the colour skip the darks. You also increase the lights because you change see that area there, as if we've got a little bit of light creasing through from up here. So that automatically, some people think you're silly when you do this, but it's just, I could almost use I want the biggest brush that I've got, let's use that one. Because I want this, you don't want to disturb the colours underneath. See, she then breaks that shadow. Oh, actually, let's put it coming towards us. Coming towards us is better than walking in, I think. So just by there, just showing her chest. She's got then a bag. She's been shopping. A couple of bags coming. So then.